You know, I'm not even going to begin this with my usual introduction. I'm just going to just jump right in on this. So, I really didn't pay much mind to it. I mean, I was aware because how can you not be whenever certain topics of discussion is being brought up or put on the table, to be examined and thoroughly debated for what it's worth. Um, but it got into a point now since I've been, engaging with, my platform here on YouTube and having certain discussions over on the other app on TikTok, that there are people within the black community who are black themselves that are very anti-black. And I'm not talking about like within the traditional sense of like the culture of like saying, oh, I know Motown and this, that, and everything else, and I know who these artists are, or I know certain things that we eat, going to certain family functions and reunions and things of that nature. No, I mean anti-black to the extent of, in comparison, are just as bad or if not worse as the black on black violence that they love to throw out there in their condescending rebuttals whenever you talk about racial issues. Because that rhetoric is just as dangerous, especially when you're pandering to a certain group of people in particular who use those same talking points to, well, I can't say paint an image because this has been done throughout the course of history, where you find a particular group, demonize them, have groups look down upon them, co-sign on all the stereotypes, um, go against them, undervalue them, um, how should I say, exclude them from anything within society to give them the chance to adjust or be a part of until they find someone else that they can pick on. Okay. But then when you go to address those behaviors that were wrong, it's like when you go to do that, you're immediately cut off. Because it's like, oh, hold on, hold on. Before you start bringing up anything that this particular group did to you, let's talk about you and what your group is responsible for within your own community before we go and address what other people have done to you. And it's like, so you can't point out things that in some areas are continued through tradition, are still being practiced. The ideology is still there because you can't say that it isn't. I mean, well, I can't say that because you do have individuals who are of the group that I'm speaking of who are black, who are anti-black, that are conveniently oblivious, would tell you because of where they reside at, racism doesn't exist. They're surrounded by a group of white people, and oh, they don't ever see anything racist around them. Now, last time I checked, this country is got how many states? Within those states, you got these major cities, and apart from those major cities, you got these counties. And from those counties, you got these towns. And from the towns, you got these sub. So everything is sectioned off and there's a thing called areas and demographics and what may not necessarily um, goes on over here doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't take place over there, because certain people haven't been subjected to what others have. I guess that immediately gives them the right to project their perception to say that if it has yet to happen to them, then it hasn't happened to anyone ever. Okay. So that's the rational thought process and their sense of logic and reasoning that they're going to apply to present their perception and base their talking points off of, because of they haven't seen it. I haven't seen a shark personally. I haven't been able to touch one. I haven't been on the boat to see the fin come up out the water. Doesn't mean that that shark doesn't exist. I mean, okay, so playing the devil's advocate. That's like people who ain't never lived in the inner city saying, I ain't never seen no gangs. I ain't seen no Bloods, no Crips, no Latin Kings, no Los Solitos, no Tony Loves, or other chapters that derive from those, the foundation of those original whatever sets. So if I haven't seen these gangs that you speak of that is running and terrorizing these inner cities, how am I to believe you to say that they exist? I mean, yeah, the media says that, oh, there was a shooting in Chicago, but I've been to Chicago. I haven't gotten robbed. I haven't had no person come up to me and threaten my life. It hasn't happened to me. So I don't see what you're saying. And then you say the statistics of this and that and everything else. Anybody could just throw numbers on a chart and say that's a fact. I mean, where are you getting this from? I mean, I've never been affected by no gang violence in the inner city of Chicago. What is it that you are speaking of? It's foreign to me. You see how I'm playing into that narrative right there, because that's just showing that I'm aware and I understand, but I'm choosing to be conveniently oblivious. I'm choosing to be ignorant. Okay? And at the expense of saying other people aren't as intelligent as I am to know better. At this point, I really don't care to understand the mindset of those within the black community who don't care about those within their community. Because, like I said, I do not condone black on black crime. I don't condone gang violence. I don't condone anything that is a harm to those within the black community. There's something that Ricky Manor said in his live today that I caught, and he said this true to form. We are so caught up in looking for black leaders that ain't leading us to nowhere. We need to start with ourselves. I wholeheartedly agree with that, because we got a lot of self-reflecting to do, because we are spending a lot of time undermining each other, entertaining too much of the negativity within our own community to exploit for whatever purpose. I don't know if it's to gain the approval of certain people in particular, to say, "Hey, I'm different," and the way these people are looking at you, truthfully, oh yeah, you different, all right, and we can use you to be our mouthpiece, because if we say the things that we were used to being able to get away with saying until, we were being held accountable for what we said, because, they say you can say this or you can act on this, but things have consequences. So let's adjust the game a little bit to where, again, we can find things to fall in our favor. We already done set the play to where we don't have to go out and kill y'all niggas no more. You doing our job for us. We don't have to make you look at each other as being less than in each other's eyes, because we got people to speak for us against you. And they are proud to do that. We don't need to argue semantics when it comes to what party you affiliate with, and then watch y'all just look at each other in disbelief and disgust. Because, like Ricky Manor had pointed out, you don't hear of other people doing the shit that we do to ourselves. And when pointing out certain things, if you're not coming with a solution to what you're exploiting for whatever purpose that you're doing it, to deflect from whatever is being put on the table, to actually discuss, to bring awareness, to see it as being a problem, to not to be dismissive of what other people have experienced, whether it's a mother that lost her child or a loved one due to gang violence, or to someone who have been subjected to somebody taking their loved one from them because of their skin color, because they didn't want them in the neighborhood, or that they knew that they were able to get away with it and little to nothing will be done because our lives are of no value in the eyes of certain people. But yet, some of these people within our own community go about and co-sign off of that ignorant bullshit, and is proud of it. And then when you call them out on it, you don't really hear much of it. They rather distance themselves, rather not engage with you in the conversation, because when you trip them up and call them out on their bullshit, they want to deflect. Then they go to the whataboutisms. Well, what about? Well, if you look over here, if you look over there. No, I'm looking at you. I'm asking you. Now I'm not concerned about this. I'm not concerned about that. I'm wondering what is it? What is your aim? What is your motive? Because when I point out certain things, it's because I have kids that I have to bring up in this world. And I'm not only looking at the criminal element within the black community, but I'm also looking at the element that people choose not to address because they say it doesn't exist. The greatest trick that the devil has played on us is making it seem like he didn't exist either.